I woke up in a novel. And not just any novel, but one of those trashy web novels about an overpowered protagonist. The first thing that happens? My fiancée wants to break off our engagement. She said I was a lost cause, beyond redemption. I just laughed. Seriously, who gets it? I spent my whole life grinding, finally kicked the bucket, and now I'm reborn into a story where I have to grind again. No thanks. This engagement is definitely off. I just want to chill out and do nothing. But why, when all I want to do is embrace the chill life, does my ice-cold ex-fiancé keep looking at me so strangely? I open my eyes to the dazzling sight of an outrageously luxurious crystal chandelier. A middle-aged man in a tailored suit, hair perfectly slicked back, stood respectfully beside my bed. Mr. Sterling, you're awake. Ms. Jennings is waiting in the parlor. Regarding the annulment of your engagement. A sharp pain lanced through my head, and a flood of information poured in. Ryan Sterling, had transmigrated. I was now the male lead of this novel-titled urban legend, The Tycoon's Return. In this moment, it was the very first scene of the story. The Ice Queen CEO, my fiancé, about to dump me, the good-for-nothing scion of a powerful family, in front of everyone. According to the original plot, I'd be brutally humiliated, then awaken my latent powers and memories, beginning my epic journey of revenge and success. But in my last life, I was a corporate drone who clawed his way up from the bottom to become a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, only to die from overwork in my office. Do it all again? I'm exhausted. Just let it burn. Got it. I threw off the covers, my bare feet sinking into the plush, expensive carpet. Mr. Henderson, our butler, blinked, clearly surprised by my calm. I ignored him, walked straight into the walk-in closet, grabbed a random t-shirt and some board shorts, and shuffled downstairs in a pair of flip-flops. In the parlor, the atmosphere was so thick you could cut it with a knife. A woman in a crisp, white business suit, with an aura of detached coolness, sat in the main armchair. That was my fiancée, Clara Jennings, CEO of Jennings Corp. Her stunningly beautiful face was currently a mask of frost. The moment she saw my attire, her elegant brows furrowed, and the disgust in her eyes almost spilled over. Ryan Sterling, I'm here today to inform you that our engagement is officially over. Her voice, like her demeanor, was cold and devoid of emotion. The faces of the elders in the living room were grim. My dad, practically fuming, pointed at me, ready to unleash a torrent of abuse. You ungrateful little. I raised a hand, cutting him off. Fine by me. 2 simple words, light as a feather, yet they detonated like a bomb in the quiet room. Everyone froze. For the first time, Clara's perpetually icy expression showed a crack. Her fingers, gripping the engagement annulment agreement, tightened slightly, her knuckles turning white. She had probably prepared a whole speech of insults for me, but my fine by me choked it all back down her throat. You agree? She sounded almost disbelieving. What else? I sauntered over to the sofa opposite her, flopped down, and let out a comfortable sigh. You've already signed the papers. Am I supposed to cling to your leg, sobbing and begging you not to leave? Ms. Jennings, we're adults. Let's keep it classy. My dad was trembling with rage, while my mom patted his back frantically. Clara's face turned a captivating shade of pale green. She took a deep breath, apparently trying to regain control. Since you agree, that's fine. This support Sterling Enterprises has provided me over the years, I'll compensate in the form of projects. Jennings Corp. can offer a 10% premium on that south side land parcel. Hold it. I cut her off again. I looked at her and smiled. Ms. Jennings, are you misunderstanding something? Our family's engagement was a business alliance, a mutual exchange of benefits. You don't like me? You want to break it off? No problem. But to dismiss me like I'm some beggar? Isn't that a bit rude? I crossed one leg over the other, my flip-flops dangling. The annulment is fine, but skip the compensation. My family, Sterling Enterprises, isn't so desperate that we need to sell off our son to get projects. From now on, you go your way, I'll go mine. Oh no, I shifted into a more comfortable position. I'll just lie in my comfortable bed. With that, I yawned and told Mr. Henderson, show her out. The parlor fell silent, a deathly quiet. Clara stared at me, her gaze so intense it felt like it could bore holes through me. She probably never imagined that Ryan Sterling, who had always been her obedient puppy, her devoted doormat, would speak to her with such an attitude. She left, taking the agreement I hadn't even bothered to look at. She left in a huff. My dad finally couldn't take it anymore. He snatched a feather duster from a nearby stand and lunged at me. "I'll kill you, you disrespectful brat. You've shamed the Sterling name." I took off running. Dad, don't be rash. It's not worth getting upset over a woman. Don't you dare. Do you know how important the Jennings girl is to Sterling Enterprises? Important my foot. She's dumping me. Are you serious? You want me to beg her? I'd rather starve, die on the streets, jump off a cliff, than be her doormat. The Sterling mansion descended into utter chaos. While dodging my dad, I whistled to myself internally. Screw the tycoon's return, screw the corporate empire. I just want to be a good-for-nothing slacker, living off my inherited wealth. This life, nobody's gonna make me grind again. The next day, I woke up naturally. Sunlight streamed through the massive floor-to-ceiling windows. I stretched, my bones cracking in a satisfying symphony. This is how life should be. I grabbed my phone from the nightstand and dialed a number. "Hey, Mike," a voice, both excited and respectful, answered. "Boss, you finally called. I've been waiting so long. I practically withered away." Mike, full name Mike Shun. In the original novel, he was my most loyal and talented subordinate, a business prodigy. Unfortunately, he was held back by my worthless self in the early stages, only truly shining after my awakening. "All right, save the chatter." I yawned. "I've got a task for you. Name it, boss." Through fire and brimstone, Mike Shin won't even bat an eye. "Starting today, you're taking over all operations for Sterling Enterprises." A silence fell on the other end of the line. A full 10 seconds. "Bo boss? You're not kidding, are you? Mr. Sterling Sr. I'll talk to my dad. Just tell me, can you handle it?" "Yes, boss. I'll handle it brilliantly. I promise." Mike's voice was trembling, the excitement of long-suppressed ambition finally unleashed. "Good. I'll occasionally give you general directions, but you handle the specifics. Don't bother me unless the company is about to go bankrupt. Also," I added, "find me a personal chef, someone who can cook a full gourmet meal, Michelin star level, and set up a wine cellar for me. I want to dabble in making my own artisanal wines." Mike clearly couldn't keep up with my thought process. "What's up? I need to maintain my quality of life. That's all. I'm hanging up." I ruthlessly hung up the phone, as if I had just handed over a multi-billion-dollar corporate empire instead of a kid's summer homework. Others are grinding through life. I'm just fluffing my pillow. After all, anything outside my blanket means work. With that sorted, I felt great and decided to go find some food. I hopped into the flashiest car in the garage, a pink Lamborghini, and drove straight to Sterling City's most renowned private restaurant, the Serenity Garden. The owner of the Serenity Garden was mysterious, and it operated on a membership-only basis, rumored to be exclusive regardless of wealth. But who was I? The original protagonist. I still had that much pull. I tossed my keys to the valet and swaggered inside. "Welcome, sir. Do you have a reservation?" A slender waitress in a traditional dress greeted me. "No, but my name is Ryan Sterling." The waitress paused, then her professional smile became genuinely warm. "Mr. Sterling, the owner said to seat you directly in our best Lotus View private room." I nodded, satisfied. Looks like my protagonist halo still came in handy for enjoying life. The Lotus View room overlooked a pond of water lilies, offering a serene and elegant ambience. I sprawled in the armchair, about to order, when the door gently pushed open. A girl in a plain white dress, with long hair cascading to her waist, walked in. She froze when she saw me. The girl was beautiful, not Claire's aggressive, cold beauty, but a gentle, classical charm that made you feel like you were basking in a spring breeze. Her brows were like distant mountains, her eyes like autumn waters. My mind went blank with a jolt. Female lead one, Sophia Miller. In the original novel, after my engagement was annulled, I met her at a business gala when I saved her from a sticky situation. I didn't expect to run into her here today. "Excuse me, I seem to have taken a wrong turn." She gave a slight bow, preparing to retreat. "Wait," I called out as if possessed. "Are you Sophia Miller?" A flicker of surprise crossed her eyes. You know me? Of course, I knew her. I also knew that the Serenity Garden was owned by her family. And I knew that her family was an even more formidable, reclusive power than the Jennings family. And I knew that she was my future. Hold on. I've already decided to lie flat. What do I need a female lead for? Women only slow down my enjoyment of life. With that thought, I immediately discarded any inappropriate notions, plastering on the face of Playboy. Not really. Just saw how pretty you were and wanted to introduce myself. Care to join me for a meal? Gorgeous. Sophia's smile faded slightly, but remained polite. No, thank you. I have other plans. She turned to leave. Just then, the private room door was kicked open. A pot-bellied, reeking of alcohol, middle-aged man barged in, followed by 2 bodyguards. Soph, why were you running? Tony here ain't gonna eat ya. The man's eyes lit up when he saw Sophia, and he reached out a greasy hand to grab her. Sophia gasped, her face turning pale as she recoiled. I sighed. Well, damn. Looks like the hero saves the beauty trope is unavoidable. Sophia retreated to my side, her wide, startled eyes filled with a mix of fear and an unspoken plea. The greasy man's gaze finally landed on me, immediately turning hostile. Who are you? Trying to steal my woman? I leaned back in the chair, not moving a muscle, simply picking up the teacup on the table and blowing on its hot contents. Who I am isn't important. What's important is that you, right now, immediately get out of that door and I can pretend nothing happened. My tone was flat, as if discussing the pleasant weather. The greasy man guffawed as if he'd heard the funniest joke, his jowls jiggling. Kid, do you know who I am? I'm Tony the Shark Moretti. I own the entire West End. You dare talk to me like that? Oh, Tony Moretti? I nodded. Never heard of you. You're asking for it. Tony, enraged by my dismissive attitude, waved a hand. Throw him out and feed him to the fish. The 2 bodyguards immediately advanced on me. Sophia nervously clutched the corner of my shirt. I patted her hand reassuringly, remaining unperturbed. I'll give you one more chance. Get out now, or I'll make sure you can't show your face in Sterling City. Tony scoffed. Just you, pretty boy? I said nothing more, just pulled out my phone and dialed a number. Hey, Mr. Henderson, I'm at the Serenity Garden having lunch. Some guy named Tony Moretti claims he owns the West End and wants to feed me to the fish. Handle it. With that, I hung up. The entire exchange took less than 15 seconds. Tony was momentarily stunned by my nonchalant actions, then burst into even more boisterous laughter. Ha, calling for backup? Kid, you think this is a movie? I'm telling you, not even the president himself can save you today. The words were barely out of his mouth when his own phone rang. Tony impatiently answered, roaring, Who is it? Can't you see I'm busy? Whatever was said on the other end, Tony's arrogant expression instantly froze. Sweat broke out on his forehead, and his face turned visibly pale. Mr. Hayes, you're calling me. No, that's not it. I didn't know he was a friend of your friend. Yes, I was wrong. I'm leaving immediately. Tony hung up, shaking like a leaf. He looked at me, his eyes filled with terror. He dropped to his knees with a thud, slapping himself hard on both cheeks. Mr. Sterling, I had eyes but couldn't see Mount Ty. I am scum. Please, sir, be magnanimous and spare me this once. I didn't even bother to lift an eyelid. Get out. Yes, sir. Tony fled as if granted a reprieve, scrambling out of the room, his 2 bodyguards having already vanished in fright. Silence returned to the private room. Sophia looked at me, her beautiful eyes shining with admiration. Thank you. Her voice was soft and sweet. Just doing my civic duty. I slouched back into my chair. Now, can we share a meal? I'm quite bored eating alone. This time, she didn't refuse, sitting down opposite me. My name is Sophia Miller. I still don't know yours. Ryan Sterling. She whispered my name softly, a lovely dimple appearing at the corner of her lips. That's a nice name. I looked at her smile, and my heart inexplicably skipped a beat. Damn it. This irresistible charm. We had a delightful meal. Sophia wasn't like Clara. She loved to laugh. Her personality, gentle yet with a touch of playfulness. We talked about food, travel, and all sorts of interesting things. She seemed curious about everything about me. You seem different from what the rumors say, she remarked as we were leaving. Oh, what do the rumors say about me? I asked with interest. She pursed her lips, a little embarrassed. They say you're uneducated, a playboy who only knows how to party. Am I not right now? I gestured to myself, driving a flashy sports car, coming to the fanciest restaurant, and flirting with a respectable young woman. Sophia giggled, shaking her head. No, it's different. Your eyes. They have stars in them. I froze. Looking into her clear, deep eyes, I felt a flicker of doubt about my decision to lie flat for the first time. Perhaps lending a hand occasionally wouldn't be so bad. After parting ways with Sophia, my good mood lasted until I got home. But the moment I walked in, I saw my dad sitting on the sofa with a grim expression, holding a newspaper. Look at what you've done. He slammed the newspaper onto the coffee table. I picked it up. The headline, in huge bold letters, screamed, Jennings Corp. Faces major crisis. Sterling Enterprises annulment may be the biggest winner. Below, it was a picture of Clara Jennings looking grim at a press conference. I raised an eyebrow. The plot had begun. In the original novel, Jennings Corp. was sabotaged by a competitor on an overseas cooperation project, almost leading to a capital chain rupture. And behind that competitor, Sterling Enterprises had played a role. Of course, that was the awakened me, pulling the strings from behind the scenes. Clara, desperate, would eventually come back begging me, only to be brutally humiliated, thus beginning her long journey of chasing me down. You ungrateful brat. I told you long ago, being allied with the Jennings family brings nothing but benefits. Look, now that Jennings Corp. is in trouble, everyone thinks Sterling Enterprises is behind it. We're being called ungrateful scoundrels. My dad fumed, stroking his mustache. I shrugged, looking innocent. What's it got to do with me? She's the one who wanted to break off the engagement, not me. Besides, Sterling Enterprises hasn't done anything, has it? You. All right, Dad, don't get worked up. I tossed the newspaper aside. Mike's handling the business. Why don't you join me in early retirement, tend to some plants, do some fishing? Wouldn't that be great? My dad was so choked up he couldn't speak. Just then my phone rang. It was Mike. Boss, something big happened. His voice was unusually excited. Did the company go bankrupt? No. Even more exciting. Jennings Corp. is in trouble, and the Wall Street wolves smelled blood. They're aggressively shorting Jennings Corp.'s stock. Their share price has already hit rock bottom. Oh, my reaction was flat. Oh, just an oh, boss. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. If we just now. Mike, I cut him off. What did I tell you yesterday? Silence on the other end. You said, boss, to find a way to turn the $30 billion of idle cash in our company account into $300 billion within a month. That was the text I sent him yesterday. He thought I'd made a mistake then, right? The opportunity's here. You know what to do. Don't disappoint me. Boss, I understand. Mike's voice had a tremor. You mean to buy low and flip it? I didn't mean anything. I just want to see a $300 billion account balance. The process isn't important. I get it. Boss, I totally get it. Don't worry. I'll complete the mission. Mike hung up, energized. I shook my head. This cursed competitive drive. Meanwhile, in the CEO's office at Jennings Corp., the atmosphere was suffocating. Clara Jennings stared at the continuously falling stock price, her beautiful face as cold as ice. Have you found out? Who's behind this short selling? The secretary nervously replied, We found out. The lead is a Wall Street hedge fund, but we also discovered a mysterious account that's been aggressively buying up our circulating shares in the market. Mysterious account? Whose? Can't track it. Their anti-tracking capabilities are too strong. But based on the capital flow analysis, the source seems to be Sterling Enterprises. Sterling Enterprises? Clara's head snapped up, a flicker of disbelief in her eyes. Ryan Sterling. She almost bit out the name. In her mind, that good-for-nothing slacker who only knew how to eat, drink, and party possessed such financial power and cunning. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. It must be old Mr. Sterling pulling the strings from behind. Was he trying to force her to come back this way? Thinking this, Clara's gaze grew even colder. She picked up her phone and dialed a number. It's me. Arrange a meeting with Mr. Sterling from Sterling Enterprises. Tell him I want to discuss that South Side land parcel. She refused to believe that if she humbled herself, the Sterling family would refuse her. The next day, a news story exploded across Sterling City's financial circles. Ryan Sterling didn't get out of bed today. This inexplicable topic actually trended one on social media. Clicking on it, the content was even more ludicrous. A candid photo showed me in board shorts, a breakfast burrito in my hand, squatting by a street stall, sipping coffee. The caption read, "According to informed sources, Sterling Enterprises invested tens of billions yesterday, precisely buying low on Jennings Corp. Stock, earning $3 billion overnight." Yet, Sterling Enterprises' young heir, Ryan Sterling, was spotted this morning at 7 a.m. eating breakfast at a street stall. According to the stall owner, Grandma Rose, Mr. Sterling even burped after eating and said he was going home to catch some more Z's. The comments section blew up. Holy crap, orchestrating a multi-billion-dollar play while slurping noodles at a street stall? What kind of god-tier move is this? Talk about psychological warfare. Clara Jennings is pulling her hair out at the office. Ryan Sterling is sleeping in, and the stock price still hit maximum gains. I declare from today on, Ryan Sterling is my new male god. Who wouldn't love a man who makes money while lying flat? Ryan Sterling didn't get out of bed today. Company stock is up. I got up early for work. Company fined me for being late. The gap between people is wider than between a human and a dog. I looked at the news on my phone, almost spitting on my coffee. This Mike, he really was a talent. I just told him to turn 30 billion into 300 billion. He went and made me famous overnight. He also conveniently sculpted my image into that of a stock market guru among commoners, winning even while lying flat. Nice, I'm very satisfied. This way, no matter how much of a slacker I am in the future, people will just think I'm a quiet genius hidden in the city. I was happily scrolling through the comments when a call came in. It was Sophia Miller. "Ryan, you're trending, did you see?" Her voice was laced with laughter. I saw. I was wondering how I'd explain my laziness, but now it's all good. Everyone thinks I'm a hidden master. Sophia burst into soft laughter at my words. "You're truly interesting. Oh, I made some homemade plum wine today. Would you like to come try some?" "Absolutely. Send me the address." My eyes lit up. Such good news. I immediately dropped my burrito and drove my pink Lamborghini straight to the address Sophia sent. It was an estate on the outskirts of the city, even larger than my family's villa. Sophia, in a simple linen dress, looked like a fairy untouched by the mortal world, waiting for me at the entrance. "Your house is huge," I genuinely exclaimed. "Usually just me and my parents live here. They're out today," she said, her cheeks faintly flushing. I followed her into a classical-style courtyard, filled with various jars and pots. The air was filled with a faint aroma of wine and fruit. "Wow, you actually make your own wine." I was a little surprised. MHM, my grandpa taught me. I like these traditional things. She handed me a glass of amber-colored liquid. I took a sip, sweet and sour, with a clear, refreshing taste and an endless aftertaste. "Delicious. I'm glad you like it." She smiled, her eyes curving, sweeter than the wine itself. We sat at a stone table under a grape arbor, drinking and chatting. Sunlight filtered through the leaves, creating dappled patterns of light and shadow. Time stood still. I looked at her profile, illuminated by the sun, appearing almost translucent. As if possessed, I reached out and gently stroked her head. Her hair was soft, carrying a faint, clean scent. Sophia's body tensed, her face instantly turning crimson like a ripe apple. She didn't pull away. Instead, she lowered her head slightly, exposing her fair, slender neck. The atmosphere suddenly became a little intimate. My heart started to beat erratically again. I looked at her, and she looked back at me. Our eyes met, and the air seemed to crackle with electricity. Just as I felt an irresistible urge to lean closer, her stomach let out an ill-timed grumble. Sophia's face turned an even deeper shade of red, wishing for a hole to swallow her whole. I chuckled. "Hungry?" She nodded, her voice barely a whisper. "What do you want to eat?" "I'll make it for you." You can cook." She widened her eyes in surprise. "Of course." I stood up, rolled up my sleeves. "I've mastered all the major cuisines. Today, I'll show you what a true Iron Chef is like." Watching my retreating figure as I walked into the kitchen, Sophia's eyes sparkled. She propped her chin in her hands, an irrepressible smile playing on her lips. She felt like she had truly found treasure. Clara Jennings ultimately didn't get to see my dad. Following my advice, my dad used poor health as an excuse and jetted off to the Maldives for a fishing trip. Clara, rebuffed, looked even colder. She couldn't believe Sterling Enterprises wouldn't be interested in that Southside land parcel. She thought the Sterling family was playing hard to get, trying to manipulate her. The more she thought this, the more her inherent pride prevented her from backing down. She began to mobilize all her resources and connections, attempting to reverse the downward trend. However, the Wall Street wolves, coupled with the elusive Mike, rendered all her efforts largely ineffectual. Jennings Corp.'s stock price continued to fluctuate wildly at rock bottom. Just as Clara was at her wit's end, Sterling City's annual elite charity gala arrived as scheduled. This was a major gathering for high society and an excellent platform for exchanging resources and seeking cooperation. Clara knew this was her last chance. She donned the black evening gown that best represented her status and position, appearing in the ballroom like an arrogant queen. The moment she appeared, she became the center of attention. However, those eyes that once held fawning admiration and deference now carried a hint of schadenfreude. Look, that's Ms. Jennings from Jennings Corp. Heard her company is almost bankrupt. TSK, what a shame for such a beautiful face. If she'd known this would happen, why did she break off the engagement with the Sterlings? Now look, mister. Sterling is making money lying flat, while she has to beg everywhere. Tell me about it. I heard Mr. Sterling has been getting pretty close with Ms. Miller recently. The Millers. They're even more powerful than the Jennings. These whispers, not too loud, not too soft, reached Clara's ears. Her nails dug deeply into her palms. Just then, a commotion erupted at the ballroom entrance. Everyone turned to look. I had arrived. I wore a casual suit, no tie, 2 buttons undone, revealing a hint of my tan chest. My whole demeanor exuded a lazy, yet utterly captivating sexiness. But what truly captured everyone's attention wasn't me. It was my date, Sophia Miller. Tonight, she wore a pale purple starry night gown, her hair elegantly swept up, revealing her swan-like neck. She wore no exaggerated jewelry, just 2 small pearls adorning her earlobes. She was refreshingly elegant, like a fairy under the moonlight. She held my arm, a sweet smile on her face, murmuring something to me. We stood together like a painting, a very, very dazzling painting. At least, that's how it seemed to Clara. Her gaze, like 2 ice-cold daggers, shot directly at us. I felt her stare, looked up, and raised my glass to her from afar, a playful smirk curving my lips. That smile held no provocation, no showing off, just pure, calm amusement, as if to say, "See, I'm doing better without you." Clara's heart clenched. An emotion she had never experienced before, envy and resentment, fiercely blossomed within her. How? How could this utterly worthless slacker gain Sophia Miller's favor? Why could he be so nonchalant while she struggled here, holding everything together? Just then, a handsome man in a white suit approached Clara, a glass in hand. Clara, long time no see. Brandon Hayes, the main antagonist in the original novel, also secretly in love with Clara and one of the primary culprits who took advantage of Jennings Corp. As Crisis. Of course, the current Clara was still in the dark. Brandon, when did you get back? Clara looked surprised to see him. Just returned, and I heard you were in trouble. Brandon's eyes were full of concern. Don't worry, I'm here for you. A mere Sterling Enterprises. I don't even bat an eye at them. He spoke softly, yet deliberately ensured those around could hear him. He looked at me, his eyes full of disdain and provocation. I smiled. Finally, he's here. The villain makes a grand entrance. Now it's time for my flex moment. Oh no, it's my lie flat moment. This small-time stuff doesn't require my personal intervention. Brandon expected his words to at least make me flinch. Instead, I didn't even lift an eyelid, continuing to discuss which mini dessert to eat with Sophia. I think the chocolate one looks good. But the strawberry one looks delicious too, Sophia said, looking conflicted. Then get both, I said with a grand gesture. But I'll get fat. I can still carry you when you're fat. You're terrible. We flirted openly, completely ignoring Brandon, who was left standing awkwardly. A suppressed ripple of laughter spread through the crowd. Brandon's face instantly turned a deep shade of purple. He prided himself on being a prodigy, wielding influence in overseas capital markets. He had never been so thoroughly ignored. Ryan Sterling. He finally lost his temper, raising his voice. What else can you do besides hide behind women? His shout successfully captured everyone's attention. All eyes turned to us. Looks like a show's about to start. I finally looked up, lazily glancing at him. I can also eat, sleep, and play video games. What, you want to learn? Somewhere in the crowd, someone couldn't hold back their laughter. Brandon's face turned even uglier. Sharp tongue. Today, I'll show you what real power is. He snapped his fingers, and an assistant immediately handed him a document. This is Azure Innovations, a company I just acquired. Its market value will at least quadruple in the next 3 years. And what does your Sterling Enterprises have, besides riding on your ancestors' coattails? You're just a good-for-nothing who got famous trending on social media because your fiancé dumped you. He was trying to publicly humiliate me. Clara stood by, saying nothing, but the coldness in her eyes clearly stated her position. She also wanted to see what kind of confidence this Ryan, who had repeatedly surprised her, truly possessed. Before I could speak, a voice rang out from behind me. Azure Innovations? You mean that company that claimed to have independently developed the Sky Art system, but 90% of its core code was plagiarized from our company's open source project 3 years ago. Mike had arrived. I didn't even notice. He was in a well-fitting suit, wearing gold-rimmed glasses, looking scholarly, but his words cut like a knife. He walked up to Brandon, snatched the document from his hand, glanced at it, and then sneered. This? A hollow shell built on theft and lies dares to challenge boss Sterling. You? Who are you? Brandon was intimidated by his aura. Who I am isn't important. Mike pushed up his glasses. I just want to remind Mr. Hayes that our company's legal department already sent a cease and desist to Azure Innovations this afternoon. Furthermore, we've partnered with over a dozen companies in the industry to launch a patent infringement assault on Azure Innovations. I estimate that in less than 3 days, that company will file for bankruptcy protection. What? Brandon's face went completely pale. All right, Mike said, as if remembering something. I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Mike Chun, head of a rather insignificant investment division under Sterling Enterprises. As for our boss, Sterling, Mike turned and respectfully glanced at me. His main job right now is researching how to find the most comfortable position to lie flat in among 100 different options. The entire ballroom was silent. You could hear a pin drop. Everyone stared at Mike and me as if we were freaks. A subordinate dares to publicly humiliate a financial titan who returned from Wall Street. A boss confidently lets his subordinate fight his battles, while he just focuses on lying flat. What kind of surreal company was Sterling Enterprises? Brandon's face was beyond description. He looked as if he'd been stripped naked in public, utterly mortified. Just then, a booming voice rang out. Well said. A white-haired but vigorous old man clapped as he emerged from the crowd. Mr. Goldstein. Someone recognized him as Mr. Harvey Goldstein, the highly respected president of the Sterling City Chamber of Commerce. Mr. Goldstein walked up to me, scrutinizing me from head to toe, his eyes full of approval. Remarkable, truly remarkable. Young Sterling, you're excellent. You have guts. You know how to delegate, how to use people. That's the mark of someone destined for greatness. Far better than certain swaggering greenhorns. He pointedly glanced at Brandon Hayes. Brandon's face went completely white. Receiving Mr. Goldstein's endorsement was more valuable than 100 project partnerships. I looked at Mr. Goldstein and smiled. You're too kind, Mr. Goldstein. I'm just genuinely lazy. Ha ha. Lazy is good. Lazy is wonderful. Mr. Goldstein roared with laughter. Young man, would you be interested in joining this old man for a game of chess? I knew it. This was an olive branch. Genuine recognition from the top tier of society. Before I could reply, Sophia answered for me. Grandpa Goldstein, he's not lazy at all. He can cook, make wine, and even tell me stories. He's amazing. Her tone of pride and admiration was undisguised. The entire ballroom was once again bombarded with a public display of affection. Meanwhile, standing in the corner, Clara Jennings watched me, surrounded by people, laughing and chatting, with Sophia happily by my side. Her heart felt as if it were being tightly squeezed by an invisible hand. The pain made it hard to breathe. For the first time, she began to wonder, was breaking off the engagement a mistake? After the gala, Clara couldn't sleep. Scenes from the banquet replayed in her mind. Ryan's laziness, Sophia's sweetness, Mike's sharpness missed her. Goldstein's praise, and her own loneliness, like an outsider looking in. That good-for-nothing she once disdained had, unknowingly, reached a height she now had to look up to. And it all seemed to have started when she proposed the annulment. She was unwilling to accept it. Early the next morning, she, for once, didn't go to the office. Instead, she had her assistant gather all information about Ryan Sterling. From his birth to the present, every detail. The files were thick, but the content was sparse. Aside from partying and causing trouble, there were almost no highlights. Until the last month, his life trajectory seemed to have been put on fast forward. The annulment, reorganizing Sterling Enterprises, meeting Sophia Miller, targeting Jennings Corp, stock speculation, publicly humiliating Brandon Hayes at the gala. Each event was completely contrary to his previous image. Coincidence? Clara murmured to herself. She didn't believe in coincidences. She opened an encrypted folder containing information she'd paid a hefty sum to a private investigator for. It detailed Sterling Enterprises' internal capital flows and high-level email exchanges over the past month. When she saw that every multi-billion-dollar capital transfer order that stirred up Sterling City's financial waters ultimately pointed to Ryan Sterling's personal email. When she saw that Mike Chun sent a detailed report email thousands of words long every day, and Ryan's replies were always just one word, read or okay, her pupils constricted sharply. So, it really was him. Everything. He was orchestrating it all from behind the scenes. The man who woke up naturally every day, in board shorts, drinking coffee at a street stall, was the true helmsman of the Sterling Enterprises business empire. He wasn't a good-for-nothing. He was just too lazy to play the world's game anymore. A huge sense of absurdity and defeat swept over Clara. She felt like a clown. Her self-important pride, in his presence, had become a colossal joke. She slumped weakly against the back of her chair, her gaze vacant as she stared out the window. Her phone lit up on the table, a news notification. The headline read, "Pet romance? Mr. Sterling's and Ms. Miller's dogs are actually childhood sweethearts." The photo showed a handsome golden retriever and an adorable Samoyed playfully rolling on the grass together. The golden retriever was Ryan's, named Buddy. The Samoyed was Sophia's, named Daisy. According to the report, the two dogs were boarded at the same pet store when they were very young and had an incredibly close relationship. A few days ago, Ryan and Sophia took their respective dogs to the park, and the two dogs rekindled their old flame the moment they saw each other, ditching their owners to play together. Clara looked at the photo. Ryan and Sophia stood off to the side, smiling with helpless affection at the two dogs. Her heart ached again. Even their pets had been together earlier than she and Ryan. She had lost utterly. Brandon Hayes Azure Innovations, as Mike predicted, declared bankruptcy within 3 days. Brandon himself was placed under investigation for commercial fraud and patent infringement. The prodigy who returned from Wall Street hadn't even had a chance to make his mark in Sterling City before exiting the stage in the most humiliating way possible. And the orchestrator of all this, Ryan Sterling, was currently in Sophia Miller's courtyard, teaching her how to seal a jar of freshly brewed peach wine. See, you cover the mouth of the jar with a lotus leaf, then tie it securely with rope, and finally seal it with mud. That way, the wine's aroma won't escape. I guided her hand, my warm breath tickling her ear. Sophia's face was flushed, whether from the sun or from shyness. I couldn't tell. "Ryan, you seem to know everything." She looked up, her eyes sparkling. "Basic stuff," I said, pretending to be profound. After all, a qualified lie-flat youth must master enough skills to ensure they can lie flat comfortably and with quality. "What nonsense," she playfully glared at me. But the corner of her lips couldn't help but turn up. Just then my phone rang. It was Mike. His voice, for the first time, carried a hint of gravity. "Boss, something's happened. The people behind Brandon Hayes have made their move." "Who?" "A branch of the Rothschild family, a massive overseas capital group. They've teamed up with over a dozen institutions and are launching an indiscriminate attack on the entire Sterling City stock market. Their goal is to harvest all of us." I raised an eyebrow. "Oh wow, playing for such high stakes?" This wasn't in the original novel. Looks like my butterfly effect attracted an even more powerful enemy. "What about Jennings Corp?" I asked. "They're hit the hardest. They were already on the brink, and now they're the first target of this attack. I doubt they'll last past this afternoon. And us. We're under immense financial pressure. Their offensive is relentless. While we prepare in advance, but, boss, this time, it might really require your personal intervention." I fell silent. I glanced at Sophia, whose face was filled with worry, and smiled. "What's the panic? If the sky falls, I'll hold it up. Gather all available funds and secure our core assets. Also, allocate a portion of the funds to save Jennings Corp." "Save Jennings Corp?" Mike was stunned. "Boss, we're barely holding our own." "Execute the order." "Yes, boss." I hung up. Sophia asked anxiously, "What happened?" "Nothing, just a few small-time crooks trying to steal from us," I said dismissively. She looked at me, her eyes incredibly firm. "Ryan, I believe in you." Just then, her phone rang too. It was her father. Sophia answered, her expression gradually growing serious. After hanging up, she looked at me, taking a deep breath. "Ryan, my dad said Miller Holdings can mobilize $30 billion to help you." I was a little surprised. "Your dad agree?" "MHM." Sophia nodded. I told him, "My man, I believe in him. He's worth it." I looked at her, and the softest part of my heart was deeply touched. I stepped forward and hugged her tightly. "Silly girl. For something this small, you don't need to sell your soul to save me." I pulled out my phone and opened an encrypted app one hadn't used in a long time. The interface displayed a skull icon. I sent a message. "King call. All members online. Target. Rothschild branch. Annihilate." 3 seconds later, in countless corners of the world, in front of countless computers, individuals known as gods simultaneously received this message. They dropped everything they were doing, their eyes burning with fervent anticipation. Their king, after 3 years, had finally issued a summons again. A storm about to sweep across the global financial markets was about to begin. And I just held my girl close and whispered, "Come on, let's go somewhere fun." The place I took Sophia was the top floor of Sterling Enterprises headquarters. A never-before-seen, private command center exclusively for me. There were no offices here, no files, just a massive, circular monitoring room made up of hundreds of screens. At this moment, every screen flashed with dense data and stock charts. Mike and his team were here, standing by, their faces etched with tension and exhaustion. Seeing me walk in with Sophia, everyone froze. "Oh, boss." Mike's lips were dry. "How are things looking?" I asked. "It's bad. Their firepower is too strong. Our defenses are about to collapse." Mike's voice held a trace of despair. I walked to the main console and glanced at the data on the screens. The enemy's offensive was like a furious storm, precise and deadly. Truly worthy of a financial dynasty spanning centuries. "Sophia, are you scared?" I turned to ask her. Sophia shook her head. She walked to my side and held my hand. "No, I believe in you." Her palm was a little cold, but her gaze gave me endless strength. I smiled. "Good. Then let these thugs see what real skill looks like." I sat down at the main console, my 10 fingers blurring over the keyboard. Lines of code flowed like a waterfall across the screens. Mike and his team were completely dumbfounded. They never knew their lie-flat boss was also a top-tier hacker. Connecting to global darknet servers. Activating Zeus system. Target locked, commencing counterattack. I issued command after command, my tone calm, yet filled with undeniable authority. In that moment, I was no longer the lazy rich kid. I was the king, surveying his domain. On the circular screens, the green defensive lines, representing our side, had been steadily retreating. But after my intervention, a golden dragon appeared out of thin air. With devastating force, it slammed into the red torrent, representing the enemy. Around the world, Countless magnates following this financial war witnessed this astonishing sight. My God, it's him. The king is back. The mysterious organization Tartarus that bled Wall Street dry 3 years ago. Their king has made his move. Quick, retreat. We've provoked someone we shouldn't have. The enemy's offensive instantly crumbled. That massive capital force, as if encountering a natural predator, began to frantically flee. But it was too late. The golden dragon opened its gaping maw and swallowed them whole. The entire process took less than 10 minutes. On the screens, all the red disappeared. Only the golden dragon remained, coiled in the center of the screen, surveying all creation. In the monitoring room, silence reigned. Everyone stared at me as if I were a god. I stretched, stood up from the chair, and reverted to the lazy Ryan Sterling. Done. Mike, the rest is up to you. Take this money and renovate all the orphanages and senior centers in Sterling City. Yes, boss. Mike's voice was trembling. I took Sophia's hand, and under the worshiping gazes of the others, we walked out of the monitoring room. Come on, we still need to seal our peach wine. At this very moment, in the CEO's office at Jennings Corp, Clara Jennings stared blankly at her company's stock, which had gone on a roller coaster ride from rock bottom to maximum gains, eventually turning profitable. Her secretary rushed in, shouting excitedly, "Ms. Jennings, we were saved by a mysterious fund. Not only did we recover all our losses, but we even made a huge profit." Mysterious fund? In Clara's mind, that lazy figure involuntarily surfaced. Was it him? She picked up her phone, trembling, and dialed the number she thought she would never call again. The call connected. Ryan's familiar yet distant voice came through. "Hello, who is this?" I am Clara Jennings." "Oh, my ex-fiancé. Something up." His tone was polite yet distant, like he was speaking to a stranger. Clara's heart ached fiercely. "Today. Thank you. Thank me for what? Don't pretend I know it was you." There was a moment of silence on the other end, followed by a soft chuckle. "Ms. Jennings, you might be mistaken. I simply didn't want to see my future wife's family assets shrink because of a few nobodies. After all," his voice paused, carrying a hint of indulgent laughter, "if she ran out of money, who would support a good-for-nothing like me?" The call disconnected. Clara stood frozen, holding her phone. The sunlight outside the window was clearly warm, yet she felt utterly cold. She looked at the photo on her phone screen. Ryan and Sophia embracing under a peach tree. The man handsome, the woman beautiful. A match made in heaven. She finally understood. Some people, once missed, truly can never be gotten back. 2 lines of clear tears silently streamed down the face of the Ice Queen. End.